Now you can listen to Wine and Dine Radio while shopping at the grocery store or your neighborhood wine merchant. Wine and Dine Radio can be heard using your wireless internet on your cell phone. You're listening to iWineRadio. iWineRadio is a production of Food Tastes Better with Wine on the web at iWineRadio.com. Hey guys, I thank you for listening to iWineRadio, and we are still the only wine channel on iTunes Radio. If you go look under iTunes radio icon and scroll down to News and Talk Directory, and it's listed alphabetically, click on that and the stream comes up immediately. iWineRadio.com, where you can find links to individual guests. And if anyone's interested in advertising or becoming an underwriter or sponsor, please contact us at iWineRadio.com. We really, really appreciate your support. The more support we get, the more conversations I can have with fascinating people around the world, including you. If you have a story to tell that you'd like to share on iWine Radio, go to iWineRadio.com and contact us, and we'll go from there. Becky Sue Epstein is on another trip, this time in France, and she is researching for her book on brandy. And she's joining us today from Roussillon, southwest France. And she's in the town of Perpignan. And if I pronounce this wrong, you tell me. But anyway, her mission on this trip is tasting and learning about the fortified wines in Roussillon and the dry wines there too. And she's kind of thinking that maybe there's a future in sweet wines. And Becky Sue, so did I pronounce the town right, Perpignan?
Well, actually, that's how they pronounce it here, though. That's how I would not have pronounced it. But they give everything a sort of Catalan pronunciation here, and they pronounce many more letters than in the rest of France.
And is this in Roussillon? Is it kind of like where there's a lot of duck? I mean, is it similar to that sort of culinary sort of options that you have there? What are the kind of foods that you have there?
Well, yeah, I had duck last night, as it happens.
Okay.
It's sort of I don't know if you remember, I was in Armagnac, which is kind of just southwest of Toulouse. So if you kept going and you went toward Spain and toward the Mediterranean coast, you'd be in Roussillon. We're not right on the water here, but we're about an hour and a half drive from Barcelona.
Whoa, what a cool place to be! Yeah,
and many of the people here call themselves Catalan. I mean, they are Catalan. I think they were Catalan for thousands of years, and a few hundred years ago they became part of Spain here. And, the Pyrenees are the border, and we're right up against them. But the Catalonian people lived on both sides and in the mountains. They didn't just confine themselves to whatever they saw drawn on a map.
And do they get snow in the wintertime? What are the winter temperatures like?
Yeah, they do. Apparently you can ski in the Pyrenees, and but down below it, where the vineyards are, there's never even a freeze. So they can grow whatever they want. Especially a lot of them are toward the ocean, and that's moderated by the sea. Only they do have 7 different winds here.
Really?
So this is good and bad. So today we're getting the tramontane, which is apparently a nightmare in the winter, but what it did today was it blew out this whole storm that had come through from the Mediterranean. It just blew it back out to sea or something, because it's super windy and everyone's hair is standing on end. But it's dry and it's beautiful weather. And the sun is hot. Most of the tourists have gone home, and it's just lovely. We went down to two coastal villages today, Collioure and Bagnols-sur-Mer.
Oh, whoa!
And they're just castles and the odd castle here and there, churches, and really seaside not that well-known seaside holiday resorts for the rest of the world. Most of the people that come there are from France, some from Northern Europe. Of course, now that I've mentioned it, everyone's going to be there next year.
Oh my gosh. I love the picture that you sent to me, and I hope that you put that on your website so that I'll link to it, of harvesting Syrah at the Domaine de la Tourvière.
Oh yeah, the harvest started very early, a couple of days ago, and in some cases, and so they've harvested some whites, and then the reds that are coming in are just starting to be for the rosés, and some of the new reds are just about to come in, and we've seen a whole lot of different ways of making wine here: dry reds, dry whites. Rosés are new. In certain areas, just kind of allowed. There are new regulations about them as of even this year.
Okay.
And because rosé is so popular, and they have the same grapes here, the Syrah and the Grenache, that people make rosé out of in the other areas of France and in California, whatever. So we're going to be seeing more and more of that. And then there's the sweet wines, which they call, the Bagnols, which is one area, and the Vin Doux Naturels, VDN. Vin means wine, and Doux means sweet, and Naturel means natural. So these wines are, to my mind, totally confusing because they call them naturally sweet wines. Well, they're fortified. They add brandy. They add a spirit, a spirit essentially, a neutral brandy.
Okay.
And because they want to keep I finally figured out they want to keep the natural sugar in the wine.
Okay.
So they want to keep a certain amount of it. They they start the fermentation and then they stop it so that the wines can remain sweet.
Like port.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And they have all different types of things. Some are made with controlled oxidation, like sherry. I had one today that tasted like a tawny port. And then there are some that are really, really deep purple, and they're bottled and just kept in the bottle, and they just stay, sweet and blackberry. But they have a lot of acidity because the grapes are truly ripe. They just ferment out some of the sugar, stop the fermentation, and that's what they make. So they're just, and this now, in the last year or two, the production of and consumption of these naturally sweet wines, VDNs, has started to go up for the first time since 1988. So I was very happy to hear that. More and more people are appreciating them. What's happening is fine chefs around the world are getting hold of them, and they're creating desserts that go wonderfully with chocolate, and they're creating these dessert pairings and sauces and things like that to use them with.
And so this the VDN, the Vin Doux Naturel, is being exported to Asia, to North America.
Yeah.
Okay.
To all over the place. And
is it in half bottles?
Yeah, a lot of times it's in half bottles, 375 mils, and sometimes it's in 500 mils.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a young Bagnols, which they make, there's one called the Grenache, which is kind of like garnet. You can remember that.
Okay.
That's made to be drunk right away. So you want to, if you open that, it's less expensive. It's kind of like, I guess maybe like a late bottled vintage port. It's kind of an introduction to VDN, I should say.
Okay.
And if you open that, you want to drink that in about a week or so. But that's one of the reasons they put them in smaller size bottles. But if you open an aged VDN, you can leave it open for months. And it doesn't change. At
room temperature or in the refrigerator?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I put everything in the fridge, but according to them, you can just leave it. I would put it in the fridge, but you should expect good quality for months. You could open it for Thanksgiving and then leave it open for whatever guests you have throughout the whole holidays. Finish it up on New Year's Eve. You'll be fine.
What kind of pricing are these wines? Would you have any idea, especially compared to wines, fortified wines that people are going to be familiar with, like port or Sauterne or something
They're
like that?
lower priced. They're definitely value compared to that.
Okay.
I don't have all of the U.S. pricing, but they're definitely going to be lower priced than most ports as far as I know. And then they also make Okay, here's one Muscat de Rivesaltes, $375, $25 approximately in the U.S.
Okay.
And, as I said, some of them are oxidized, some of them are sherry-like, some of them are port-like, some of them are just lusciously, beautifully purple fruity.
Oh, wow.
And,
so you don't want to enjoy that while you're standing on a white carpet.
Yeah. You definitely want to be wearing your purple gloves for that one.
Okay, now is there any sort of a online hub for this, for Roussillon wines or for VDN wines or Bagnols wines? Or is there any place online where we could send people, besides what you're going to be writing about, where people can learn more about the region?
Yes, but you have to be able to spell this vin, V-I-N-S, du Roussillon.com. V-I-N-S, then D-U, and then Roussillon.com.
Oh, VinDouRoussillon.com. Oh, that's great.
DURoussillon.com.
Okay.
It's this whole area. It's the east coast of the and inland from the Mediterranean, just above the border for Spain.
Okay.
And they're making a tremendous amount of dry wines here, about close to half and half now. 100 years ago, they were all sweet. 20 years ago, it was 60-40 sweet to dry. Now it's 50-50, and now that they're seeing a little surge in the VDN, the sweet wine production, it looks like that's going to go on indefinitely. It'll be half and half. Okay. I've had grapes here that I never have. Grenache.
Really? I've never heard of that.
Grenache apparently comes in black, gray, and white, or we would call it red, pink, and white, but they call it black, gray, and white.
So there's a lot of, what's the word I want to say? Not clones, but there's a lot of...
just different variants,
Like Pinot Noir.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then you've got some of the old-fashioned grapes that we don't see a lot of. There'll be a wine made entirely of Mourvedre.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty interesting. The dry wines are better. I mean, people are saying that in the last 10 years, the dry wine production here has really gotten good. They would have said not good at all 10 years ago. Now, just about every dry red or white is good, and the whites are great. Who would have thought you're in the south of France? Great white wines. People are coming down here, like Michel Chapoutier from the Rhone. I had dinner with his winemaker last night, and who's been here for 12 years, and he's making tons of white and enjoying it. It's little mosaics of terroir, so everybody's really, really enjoying making what they can and blending. The art of blending is really taken to a fine point here.
Now, you send me the link to what you write about the white wines, because what you write about the dessert wines are going to end up in your book. But you send me a link so I can share that with my listeners?
Okay, and you can use my picture on the picture I sent you on your website. It's fine.
Oh, cool. Hey, thank you so very much, and I wish I was with you.
Me too. Bye, Lynn.
Bye-bye. We will have links up for you to learn more. Now, you can listen to Wine and Dine Radio while shopping at the grocery store or your neighborhood wine merchant. Wine and Dine Radio can be heard using your wireless internet on your cell phone. You're listening to iWineRadio. iWineRadio is a production of Food Tastes Better with Wine, on the web at iWineRadio.com.